So the rest will be 1 week, 1 week. Okay. So this one will take 3 weeks to complete. The rest 1 week. So chapter 2 is planning and control. So chapter 3 quality management. Chapter 4 software metrics. Chapter 5 risk management. Okay, so chapter 6 is software process improvement. Chapter 7 is configuration management. And the last chapter is dependability. Okay, so chapter 8 is, last chapter is system dependability and critical system. Okay, so in total there are 8 chapters. Shh. Okay, so please sit down, quiet. If you have any question, raise your hand, okay, and ask, speak. Okay, please don't make noise. Okay, class, I need your cooperation. Okay, when you are here, don't make noise. When you make noise, you are affecting my concentration. Alright, so let's start. So this chapter will give you ideas of what software project management is and the areas and the major areas. So in this chapter, you will learn, okay, an introduction to. So chapter 1 will cover introduction to project management. So project life cycle, you may have heard of software development life cycle. So for project, there is a project life cycle. So project appraisals. So project appraisal, I've cancelled and evaluation. So just project appraisal. So knowledge and attribute of a project manager. So what are the knowledge that a project manager need to have? Okay, so there are many and causes of project management failure. All right. So the first part is an introduction to project management. So this first part, I will explain to you what is project management, what is a project, characteristic of project, software versus other types of projects. So what's the difference between software project and other types of project, and constraint in projects. Okay, so what is project management? So it is a discipline that involves planning, organizing, staffing, directing, monitoring, and innovating. So if you are involved in project management, basically these are the things that you will be doing. Okay, you need to do planning, you need to organize, you have to do staffing. Staffing means finding people to work in the project, instructing people what to do, monitor their progress, control, innovating. Okay, so planning means deciding what needs to be done. So in a project, you have to find out what you need to do, okay, and then make arrangement. So make arrangement means, so in project, you have to make arrangement because there are many tasks. You have to make arrangement when you want to do it. So there are many tasks when you want to do it, how you want to do it. Okay, so you want to do the task one after another, or some of the tasks you may want to do them at the same time. So you can do things sequentially, or you do things at the same time. Okay, and who should do what. So that's organizing. Organizing is making arrangement. Okay, so when you want to do it, how you want to do it, who should do it. Okay, so staffing is select personnel, find people to work in the project. Okay, directing is give instructions. You have people, you have to give them instructions. So when they start working, you have to monitor their progress. So when project started, if things are not working as expected, okay, you have to exercise control so that things coming back under control. So this is taking corrective action. Okay, innovating is coming up with new solution. So coming up with new solution, you have completed a project. Okay, so you may have the next project. So in the next project, okay, so you should think of how you can do things better. Okay, so use better way to do the next project. That's innovating. Okay, so project management is a discipline that involves planning. Okay, so a lot of planning are involved. Okay, organizing, okay, make arrangement, how you want to do the things, when to do it, who should do it. Okay, find people to work in the project, give instructions, take corrective action if things are not working as expected. Okay, innovating. Okay, complete a project. So your next project, think of how you can do things better. Okay, what is the project? So a project is a specific plan or design, a planned undertaking or large undertaking. So examples of a project, the ECRL, East Coast Rail Link. Can you tell me what's the ECRL? Anyone knows what's the East Coast Rail Link? You know what's East Coast Rail Link? Okay. So some of you may know what's the East Coast Rail Link, some may not. Okay, so this is the ECRL. Okay, so it's a new rail line. Okay, so it is a new rail line. Okay, from Klang until Kota Baru. Okay, so we'll be coming up soon. So this is a project. Why this is a project? It is a specific design. It is a specific design. Okay, big planning. Okay, it's a large undertaking. It's a large piece of job. It's a big job. It's not a small job. Okay. So the ECR is a project. Developing the Huawei Harmony operating system is also a project. So it's a specific design. This operating system is a specific design. Okay, planning is required. It's a large undertaking. Okay, it is a big project. Okay, so it's a big project. It is not a small project. Can you give me one example of project? Shh. Okay, anyone of you here can give me an example of project? Yes. The RTS. Yes, the RTS is a project. It is a specific design. Need planning. It's a large job. Okay, so need years to complete, not days. Okay, any other example? Okay, I always like to hear from you. Okay, so let's continue. So characteristics of project. Okay, non-routine. Project is non-routine. It is for project. It is non-routine, meaning it is not something that you do on regular basis. So the ECIL, it is not something that you do every 10 years, or it's not something that you do every 50 years. Okay, it's non-routine. FIP is non-routine. You start here, you do FIP once. You don't do it every semester. Tutorial, assignment, all these are routine. Okay, so project non-routine. It is not something that you do on regular basis. Okay, so for project, planning is required. what needs to be done, okay, how you want to do it, okay, and you also have to monitor progress, etc. So specific objectives to be met. So project need to meet specific objectives. Okay, so I've changed the example. So example is develop a student attendance system to reduce the amount of paper consumption by 99%. Okay, so this could be a objective of developing the student attendance system. Okay, reduce paper consumption. Otherwise, a lot of paper will be used and have to do a lot of filing. Predetermined time span. Predetermined time span means you have to complete a project within certain period. You do not have unlimited time. Okay, example like FIP 9 months. For FIP, you are given 9 months. That's your time span. That's the period that you have to complete your FIP, 9 months. You cannot ask for 10 months or 12 months. Okay, so everybody need to have follow up, complete your project in 9 months. So you are given fixed time span. Work is carried out for someone. Okay, so if you are the developer, okay, and you are developing this is a system, okay, eventually someone else will be using a system. This is not you. Okay, so project as a client involves several specialization. Okay, so project involves several specialization. Okay, so may involve database specialist, UI specialist, network specialist, etc. So a person may not have all these skills. Okay, so a person may not have all the skills. So therefore, you need to find people who have different skills coming together to work in a project. Okay, and involves several phases. Okay, for this is analysis, design, code, test, implement. So these are the phases for software development. Okay, analysis, design, code, test, implement. After implement is what's the next one after implement? Hands up. Anyone? Okay, volunteer. Maintenance. Okay, maintenance. So resources constraint is common. So in project, resources constraint is common. So you have to complete project within certain time frame. Okay. So for FIP 9 months, that is the constraint. Okay. So for FIP, you have 9 months constraint. You also have project. You also have budget constraint. Okay. You may not have a lot of money to spend to complete your project. If you have a lot of money to spend to do your project, maybe you will change to a faster machine. Okay, and also you yourself have to complete the project. Okay, you cannot ask your senior for help. Okay, you yourself have to complete the FIP. You cannot ask junior, okay, or ask someone else to help you or work together with you to complete the project. Okay, so these are the common constraints in project. Okay, so what's the difference between software project and other types of project? So these are the differences: invisibility, conformity, complexity, and flexibility. Okay, so you may, it's difficult to see this difference here. Okay, let's go to the next page. Difference between software project and other types of project, example, construction project and software project. So let's say software project is developing XYZ operating system. Okay, so other kind of project is construction project. So for software project, progress is not immediately visible. So you develop an operating system, progress is not immediately visible because software has no physical form. So if you want to know, okay, how much work has been completed in this software, in this operating system development project, you can look at the documentation, okay, and run the prototype, okay, run a prototype. So what you see from screen roughly is estimate the percentage of completion. Okay, so for construction project, progress is immediately visible because construction project has physical form. Okay, example like the student youth center. So now you can see it's almost completed compared to a year ago. Okay, but for software project, how much work is completed is hard to see, it's hard to tell, right? Because it has no physical form. Okay, conformity. So software project have to conform to client requirements. Okay, construction project have to conform to physical law. Okay, example, the gravity law. So for construction project, if you want to build a house, you cannot build a house this way. You have to do something like this. Okay, otherwise this house will not last long. Okay, so complexity, I would say generally, okay, so generally software project have more complexity than other engineer artifacts. Okay, so other types of project, okay, like construction project, okay, has less complex, is less complex than software project. Okay, so flexibility, so software is easy to change. So software is easy to change. Construction project is difficult to change when it's completed. So if you are developing a commercial software, okay, so let's say you are developing a commercial software, the client name is 50 characters long. Okay, client name is 50 characters long. You want to change 100 characters long. Is it easy? So if you compare this door, let's say this door is 2 meters wide. You want to change to, now it's 2 meters wide. You want to change to 3 meters wide. This is difficult. Okay, so for software, if customer name, existing customer name is 50 characters long, you want to change to 100 characters long, it is easier than changing the door size. Okay. Other example could be you may have OK cancel button. You want to increase the size of the OK cancel button is also easier than increasing the size of the door. Okay. So in a screen, okay, so in a screen, you have 10 fields, and you want to add one more fields. Okay, by comparison, in this room, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 doors. So let's say you want to add 2 more doors. It's not easy. So in a screen, in a computer screen, on a computer screen, you have 10 fields, you want to add 2 more fields. It's much easier than adding 2 more doors in this room. Okay. So for software, it is easy to change. Okay, construction project, once completed, it's difficult to change. Okay. So because of this, I think a lot of people know software is easy to change. Okay. So when project started, client will make requests to change. And you may have nightmare. Okay. Okay. If customer keep changing requirements, keep requesting to change your screen. Can be done, but if it's too frequent, it is very annoying. But for construction project, I think they will not ask for frequent changes. Okay, so these are the four major difference between software project and construction project. So constraint in project, project manager need to face three major constraints. So if you are working as a project manager, you'll be facing these three constraints too. Okay, so number one is time. So when a project started, you may have to complete a project in 1 year or 1.5 years. So you will have fixed time frame to complete a project. Okay, so when you are given 12 months to complete a project, it's not easy to ask for time extension. Okay, so budget constraints, you will be given certain amount to spend. Okay, so you should not spend more than what is allocated. And this is to meet quality requirement. Okay, complete the project on time within budget and also meet quality requirements. So if you completed a project on time within budget, but it is difficult to use, that means you are not meeting quality requirements. Okay, so project manager's mantra to develop a system on time within budget and to the required quality. Okay, so you have to remind yourself, okay, to complete system on time within budget and meet quality requirements. So if you are the FIP student, okay, so complete FIP project scope on time and also need to meet quality requirements. So the scope here is the work that you promise that you will complete. Okay, the scope are the modules that you say you will do in a project, right? So you have to complete all the modules. Okay, complete what you promise that you will deliver. Okay, challenges in software project. Challenges faced by project manager, challenges faced by developers, by customers. Go through a few points, okay, not all. So number one, challenges faced by project manager, impossible deadlines. Okay, project manager sometimes face impossible deadlines. Okay, so scope changes. Scope change, example, more and more requirements coming in when project have started, okay, but there's no time extension. Okay, so resource constraint. The project manager may need 10 software engineers to work in the project, okay, and but only allocated with 8. Okay, you want 10, but you only given 8. It's common. So changes faced by developers, preceding activities not completed on time. Okay, so this will cause one problem. Your friend is doing A and you are doing B. Alright? Your friend is doing A, you are doing B. Okay, if your friend cannot finish A on time, then you cannot start doing your part. Okay. And you may end up having less time, you have to rush. Okay, you have to rush. Okay, so software engineer also faced with deadline pressure. If you are doing FIP, you also have deadline pressure. Okay, lack of skill. Okay, lack of skill. Example, when a project is using a new language and you don't have much experience in the new language. So for client or customers, the software project is behind schedule. So when software project is behind schedule, what's the problem? So a common problem is need to wait for 1 more month, then only can use the software. Right? So that means client have to continue using the manual way of working for another month, which is painful. Okay, so new system should reduce their pain, okay, lighten their workload. But because of system delay, they have to continue doing manual work, okay, which is painful, right? So another one is that the dealer software no longer meet the needs of the organization. So when project completed and delivered to customer, so the project does not meet the client requirements anymore. Usually this happen for long duration project. Okay. So customer ask for the project in 2025, okay, but received in 2027. Okay. By 2027, when received the software in 2027, it does not meet client requirements anymore because client has changed the way of working. Okay. And third is the cost of the project has exceeded its allocated budget. Can spend more than what is allocated. Okay. Project life cycle. So project life cycle 4 stages. All project go through these 4 stages. Okay, identify a need, develop proposed solution, perform the project, terminate the project. So project start because there is a need. The project start because there is a need. So you have to identify exactly what's the need, then develop proposed solution, perform the project, okay, terminate the project. Terminate, hand over the project to client. So the first stage in project life cycle is identify a need. So project started because there is a need. So if you are the project manager, you have to identify exactly what's the need, develop proposed solution, perform the project. So perform the project is the SDLC. Alright, it's the SDLC. Then terminate the project. Terminate the project is hand over the project. So the y-axis represent amount of effort. Okay, y-axis represent amount of effort. So x-axis represent time. So which stage require the most effort? Which stage require the most effort and time? The SDLC. Okay. So the SDLC, so make sure that at this stage you have enough people. So make sure that here you have enough people to work in the project so that okay, you can complete on time. So SDLC is analysis, design, code, test, implement. Okay, hand over and terminate the project. So when one project complete and you work on the next project, then these 4 stages repeat again. Okay, a good project is one that has successfully fulfilled the identified needs. Project lifecycle processes. Project lifecycle processes. Okay, A, B, C, D. These are the major work. Okay, so these are the major work in the project lifecycle. So the major work are divided into 5 phases, five processes: initiating processes, planning processes, executing processes, monitoring and controlling processes, closing processes. Okay, so start start with a kick-off meeting, then one or more meetings to streamline project requirements. Okay, so at the end, produce a project charter. A project charter is a formal project document. Okay, so this is a formal project documents. Okay, so what you can find in these formal documents are project scope, okay, role and responsibility of each party involved. So basically, these are the info that you can find in the project charter. How many of you are doing FIP now? Or is there a project charter? Do we spell out what you do and what I do? Does the documents state what you will do, what we do, what we will not do for you? Got ah. So we have something similar to project charter. Okay, the FRP guideline clearly mentioned, okay, what are your responsibility? What are your supervisor responsibility? Okay, including what your supervisor will not do. Okay, it's important now so that there's no conflict. So in project, there are many parties. Okay, in project there are many parties. So the responsibility of each party must be well defined. Okay, so next planning, create a project management plan. So this project management plan should contain project schedule. So project schedule are, so what you can find in project schedule are the tasks. Okay, so what are the tasks? The start date and end date of each task. So milestone are group of tasks. So their main tasks, you should group them. Okay, so you can group them into phases or stages so that you can see the milestone. So project team members who are working in the project and all other related project information. Okay, and execute the project. Execute the project, that means you start to build the system. Start building the system, start working on the project. So output is work result. So, okay, for work result, you should refer to FIP, what the work result. FIP, you are doing something. When you do something, you must be producing something, correct? So what are the things that you produce? FIP, what are the work result? There are many. There are many. Tell me one. What's the first one? Can you suggest one? Name one. Name one work result from FIP. Huh? Application. Yes. Okay. Application. Proposal. Proposal. You write proposal? Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. Portfolio 1. Chapter 5, 6. Then final report. These are the work results. You do many things. Okay? You do many things. Okay? There are many things you have to do. So the work result examples are proposal. So you write the proposal. Okay? Output is a proposal. You write chapter 1. Chapter 1 is the output. Portfolio 1. Portfolio 1, then you combine all the 4 chapters. All these are examples of work result. So she says software. Okay, so after finish coding, you have the computer software. That is the work result. What else? user manuals. If you are doing a real life project, okay, you have to give the client the software and also user manuals, okay, so that they know how to operate the software. Shh. Wow, you talk very loud. Okay. So another major activities in project lifecycle is monitoring and controlling. Okay, so project manager need to monitor the progress against the plan. Okay, so monitor progress. Monitor progress means check if project progress is equal to what has been planned. Okay, if you check if progress equal to what has been planned or not, then you can see that whether you can finish your project on time. If you check, you find out that you are late, okay, then you have to take corrective action. This is something that you have to do. So to monitor progress, you need to have this. This is a must to monitor progress. So you need to have list of tasks. What are the tasks you have to do in the project? So your plan start date, your plan end date. So this is must have before project start. Then the actual finish, then the actual start date and actual end date. So you compare lah. You compare this and this. You compare this and this. It's a must. You do this. You do this in your FIP. No time lah. I think the excuse is no time lah. Okay. So normally excuse is no time, but it is a must. If you do this, you can tell exactly whether or not you are on time, you are late. If you are late, how many days late? If you don't have this, you cannot tell. This is one way to monitor progress. You have to update. You must have this table, and you have to update the actual start date, actual end date, okay, to know progress. Okay. So after doing monitoring, okay, you know lah whether your project is healthy or not healthy. Healthy if project is on time. So your FIP healthy or not healthy? Very healthy. Okay, I hope it's very healthy. Okay, so closing. So when the project is completed, hand over the project product to the customer. Okay, so hand over the completed software and relevant documentation such as user manuals, operating manuals. So conduct post-project review, self-reflections. So project finished, reflect what they have done well, what you should improve. So we deploy project resources to work in other projects. Okay, so just a quick review. Quick review. So project life cycle, 4 stages of project life cycle: identify a need, develop proposed solution, perform the project, terminate the project. Okay, and these are the major work in project life cycle. I'll skip this one. Okay, next, project appraisal.